Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Awake, awake, you drowsy sleeper. Awake, awake, it is almost day. How can you sleep, you cruel creature, since you have stolen my heart away? Oh, go, my love, and ask your mother if you, my bride can be. If she says no, come back and tell me. It will be the last time I'll bother thee. Oh, hush, 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 you'll wake my mother. No songs of love she'll let me hear. If you must sing, please court some other, or whisper lowly in my ear. Oh, go, my love, and ask your father if you, my bride can be. If he says no, come back and tell me. It will be the last time I'll bother thee. My father lies in the next room simple, taken of his natural rest, but in his hand he holds a weapon. He'll kill the one that I love best. Then I will go to some long valley. I'll spend my weeks, my months, my years. My food shall be my grief and sorrow. My drink shall be my briny tears.
Hi, Nick and Hannah McMaster of Brighton-based folk gaze band Dateless Wonder Club, back with Finding Land folk show music from the shores of folk. Welcome, we've been away.
We have been away because we had a leak in our ceiling, didn't we, Nick?
We did have a leak in our ceiling. Everything went wrong that weekend.
Funnily enough, it was your birthday weekend too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it went wrong because I got older.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether you are steeped in the genre like Nick, a toe dipper like me, or joining the journey for the first time, we are delighted that you can join us for an hour or so of traditional and contemporary folk and folk-adjacent music from around the UK and beyond, with a healthy sprinkling of artists from our own beautiful part of the world in Sussex. Nick, we won't be druv.
We won't be druv. And do you know what, Hannah? I mean, maybe the Trey's Description Act could prosecute us over the hour or so because, listener, we are aware that recently, or for quite a while actually, we've been going beyond the hour. Hope you don't mind. Listen to it in two parts or email us at findinglandfolkshow@gmail.com and tell us. Get back to the hour or say, we love these extra long episodes.
You do like to drone on though, don't you?
Speaking of drone, Hannah, we started today's show as we ended the last with Bird Ellen, the experimental drone-heavy folk duo hailing from Nottingham, who we recently provided DJ support for the Brighton leg of their March UK tour.
We did, didn't we, Nick? I say we. I did a lot of the heavy lifting in that DJ set, I think.
That was their version of the traditional ballad Awake, Awake, also known as the Drowsy Sleeper, Arise, Arise or Silver Dagger, and from their 2019 album Silver Came. Also from Nottingham is the recent BBC TV crime drama Sherwood, starring David Morrissey, set against the 1984 miners' strike and inspired by true events.
Oh, it was a good one, wasn't it, that?
Really good, really good. Featuring throughout the series are songs by the Ian Campbell Group, one of the most popular and respected folk groups of the British folk revival of the 1960s. From the show and the 2005 album, The Times They Are A-Changing, on Sanctuary Records, this is Blackleg Miners.
It's in the evening after dark when the blackleg miners creep to work with their moleskin trousers and dirty shirts. There go the blackleg miners. They take their picks and down they go to hew the coal that lies below. And there isn't a woman in this town row will look at a blackleg miner. Oh, Delaval is a terrible place. They rub wet clay in the blackleg's face, and round the pit heaps they run a foot race with the dirty blackleg miners. Oh, Diband gan to the Seg Hill mine, where across the way they stretch a line to catch the throat and break the spine of the dirty blackleg miners. They'll take your tools and duds as well and throw them down to the pit of hell. It's down you go and fare you well, you dirty blackleg miners. So join the union while you may, don't wait till you die in day, for that may not be far away, you dirty blackleg miners.
Men came here and they dug their hole, drained the entire night sky to the ground below. Stars down there, oh, they shine like gold. Yeah, the money shines like pennies at the company store. Shorten your shovels, clean your gun, feed your horses on apples, make sure the whiskey's done. I laid the wire, I set the clock, boy did I fly. Heard the Tommy knockers laughing when the blast filled up my eyes. money now, buried in its tomb.
We've just heard Miner's Song, a 2019 single by Portland, Oregon-based dark folk and Americana trio Clyde and the Mill Tailors. Preceding that was Blackleg Miners by the Ian Campbell Group. Now, Nick, I'm thinking, what profession do you think is sung about most in folk? Because, yeah, obviously mining is quite a lot one. Sort of, I'm thinking for the women, it's kind of maiding or whoring. You know, what do you think? Is it mining? Is that like, or is it, you know, working in an ale house?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think you think about the 205 fishermen, don't you? So
yeah,
fishermen,
yeah.
Farmers. Some may be related to status, I suppose, lords
yeah.
and servants. The rural trades, I guess.
Mm.
But maybe they need updating. Maybe you need folk songs about customer service advisors and, mortgage advisors.
I like this, Nick. An album of modern folk songs about modern jobs.
Now, Hannah...
Nick...
Funny you should say that. Would you like to hear a modern song?
I'd love
sung
to.
in the old ways?
Yes, please.
I'm a lonely barista, a coffee I will make. I seek a lovely maiden whose thirst I shall sake. I used to work in Costa, but now I've moved to grind. With my special frothy milk, a maiden I will find. I loved a raven-haired girl whose tresses felt like silk. She left me at the altar, for I had not oat milk. Another wanted herbal tea, another the 10th for free. So I remain a lonely barrister, no maiden yet for me. But now I have some chocolate to sprinkle on the top. A maiden who remote works has found my coffee shop. Yet as I only earn just above the minimum coin, her brothers burnt her at the stake, so the navy I will join. I'm a lonely barista, a coffee I did make.
Oh, yes, that was a fine modern folk song. And do you know the great thing is maybe one day in 200 years' time, someone might find that and they'll be like, oh my God, this is a folk song from the 2020s.
Absolutely. Now, Hannah,
Nick,
tell us about Richie Mitch and the Coal Miners.
I will. Sticking loosely with the theme of miners is the folk rock band Richie Mitch and the Coal Miners from Bozeman, Montana. Released in February of this year on the Band of Wolves record label, this is Thunderhead.
I can still feel
said only a coward who took his easy route on his way to hide. It's a big world, I'm telling you, old man, and I hate that every day I stray further inside. Well, I try to run away from being afraid of what I go through with you now. So I took to the mountains to get out while I had time. I never was there, I'd never been there. All I left with you was my pride. Now I burn this town down just to have you around. We can get you on out for a ride. Maybe head down to Dillon, have a look at the moose, get a couple more hours by your side. Won't you just hold on? I've been in a hurry now. Get myself up just yet. Get myself up just yet. I know something is wrong. I've been feeling dirty now. Sell myself short instead.
You are listening to Finding Land Folk Show on Radio Lewes, where music matters.
It really does matter.
It really does. Based in the glorious county town of Sussex, this show is a passionate advocate of local folk talent. Long-time listener Sean from Hove recently contacted the show on findinglandfolkshow@gmail.com to recommend Brighton-based band Native Harrow. Currently on tour, the Laurel Canyon-esque folk rock duo have released 5 albums to date, including 2020's Closeness on the Loose Music record label. From that album, this is Feeling Blue.
Tried to be a painter in a lonely white room. I couldn't see the colors till I saw inside of you. Worked beside a carpenter whose love had left him cold, and in his many ways he had closed off from the world. And all I know is how to go and get around the feeling blue, and all my quiet thoughts they hang around
I go to work in the morning. I go to work every day. Though the boss gave me a warning, I get run down by the foreman. I dream through my mornings, I dream through my days. You know I come home, by the side a cigarette circles glowing. To go blind was fine when we were young, but now, dear, your disguise is falling. So I'm up again the next morning, and you and I, we keep it that way. The dull in the television dream distracts me. After work, what do I got left to believe? My soul's replaced by machines. I am static in the evening, and back at it by morning. Catch the politics, the sport of the presidents. None of these days news do stick. I'll admit I'm apathetic. Does my word matter anyway, or not? Works enough each day. Those days I spoke out my choice. Most days I try to avoid it. Now I can hardly hear that voice. It's driven out of me each day. I dreamt away my morning. I dreamt away my days.
We've just heard Feeling Blue by Native Harrow, followed by fellow Loose Music label mate, the Pennsylvania-raised singer-songwriter in the Woody Guthrie tradition, Vikesh Kapoor. Over the years, many musicians have of course covered the legendary folk music artist Woody Guthrie. Here is Birmingham, Alabama-born singer-songwriter Katie Crutchfield, better known as Waxahachie, singing Guthrie's Talking Dust Bowl Blues.
Back in 1927, I had a little farm that I called heaven. Well, prices up and the rain come down, and I hauled my crops all into town. I got the money. bought clothes and groceries, fed the kids, and raised a family. Well, the rain quit and the wind got high, and the black old dust storm filled the sky. And I swapped my farm for a Ford machine, and I poured it full of this gasoline. I started rocking and a rolling over the mountains out toward the old Peach Bowl. Way up yonder on a mountain road, I had a hot motor and a heavy load. Got it going pretty fast, I wasn't even stopping, and bouncing up and down like popcorn popping. I had a breakdown, sort of a nervous breakdown of some kind. There was a feller there, a mechanic feller, said it was engine trouble. Way up yonder on a mountain curve, way up yonder in the piney wood, I gave that rolling Ford a shove and was gonna coast as far as I could. Commenced coasting, picking up speed, it was a hairpin turn. I didn't make it. Man alive, I'm telling you, and the fiddles and the guitars really flew, and that Ford took off like a flying squirrel, and it flew halfway around the world, scattered wives and children all over the side of that mountain. Well, we got out to the west coast broke, so daggum hungry I thought I'd croak, so I bummed up a spud or two, and my wife mixed up a tater stew. Poured the kids full of it, mighty thin stew though. You could read a magazine right through it. Well, I always figured that if it'd been just a little bit thinner, some of these here politicians could have seen right through it.
Fallen sensation in your sleep tonight. We sleep in the same bed at the opposite times. And Charlie, I call out your name, but I still call you darling in my mind. I was in Porto this time last week, drinking champagne sangria on the rocky beach. And I was angry with you, but I still wondered if you miss me. Charlie, we're always getting it wrong. You yell in my face, you tell me I am strong, and you tell me I'm the only one that you have ever trusted enough to lean on. Wake me up when you kiss me in my sleep. We live in secret, you're present at my feet. Then you bite me on my neck like I was something you could eat. You bite me 'cause you like the way I feel in your teeth.
Crutchfields there for the price of one. Nick, you are spoiling us. You're like a sort of bargain basement savers shop, aren't you? You buy two, get one free.
Folk bog off.
We've heard Katie Crutchfield as Waxahachie with Talking Dust Bowl Blues, which I really enjoyed. I like that kind of, it's got a lot of character, that sort of or talking type of folky sound.
Yes, well done. Toe dipper.
Followed by twin sister Alison with Charlie, which was also beautiful, from her 2017 Merge record album, Tourist in This Town. Before going on to separate projects, unsurprisingly, the Crutchfield sisters played in bands together, including pop-punk band P.S. Eliot. Going one better are twin brothers Aaron and Bryce Dessner, who play alongside brothers Scott and Brian Devenoff in the American rock band The National, with only vocalist Matt Berninger out on his own, though his wife does contribute to the lyrics. Here they are with some country folk rock stylings on Lucky You from their 2003 4AD album, Sad Songs for Dirty Lovers.
Every time you get a drink, and every time you go to sleep, all those dreams inside your head, is that sunlight on your bed? Every time you're driving home, way outside the safety zone, wherever you will ever be, you're never getting rid of me. You own me. Nothing you can do, you own me. You could have made a safer bet, but what you break is what you get. You wake up in the bed you made. Think you made a big mistake. You own me. There's nothing you can do. You own me. You own me. Lucky you.
There's a house that sits up high, its panes reflect the darkening sky. The date sits proud above the door, but no one lives there anymore. It briefly was a happy home, a piece of mountain all her own. In summer each room bathed with light, in winter fires would warm the night. Inch by inch, stone by stone, built by strength of human hands. Those that built it are long gone. Love and loss hit hard, but still it stands. Gun, but could not shoot nor could he run, and so he never did come home, and she couldn't manage on her own. The date sits proud above the door, but no one lives there anymore. Inch by inch, stone by stone, built by strength of human hand. Those that built it are long gone. Love and loss hit hard, but still it stands.
We've just heard Lucky You by The National, followed by another pair of twins in the form of the Karavic sisters, who combine original songs based on old stories, legends and folklore from their local area of South Devon. That was 1912 House from their 2022 self-released album, Illustrated Short Stories.
In 1971, the enigmatic American musician Emmett Finley recorded his only album before severing his recording contract with CBS and disappearing from the music scene, only to pursue the study of classical guitar under Manhattan-based maestro Leonid Bolotin. Now, over 50 years later, his eponymously titled Baroque folk psych rock album finally gets a worldwide release.
Oh, there's a lot of genres in there, isn't there?
Absolutely. As Big Potato Records reissues this cult classic. From this album, we are going to play Paula's song, which, on a rather eccentric reading blog which has not been updated for several years, Finley describes thus. The song was written because of a girl who had just not come out into the world, similar to Lennon's Dear Prudence situation. After the record was finished, I got so many calls from my old studio musician friends, all older than I was the young kid. To a person, I got encouragement always. The lead singer of the backing group on my song Gospel called and said, "M, without prejudice for tomorrow, the end of Paula's song is the greatest end to a ballad in rock music." He never complimented anyone, and he was not alone. Everybody really dug the heck out of it. The most original idea for a coda in music. And M, where did you come up with Some Say Rain? It's brilliant, man. Brilliant.
when the moon seems bright and his lips don't seem to want yours anymore. And the night's just right to tell you how I feel about it all. But the words won't come to me now. When the moon seems bright and his arms don't seem to touch you anymore. Yet the night will seem right when his lips won't seem to find yours anymore. Ooh, but the words won't come when I say to you, I can love, I can love, I can love. Sunset rain. Sunset
Hannah,
Nick.
do you want to know of some more critically acclaimed and beloved long players that were the only original releases, but this time of well-known artists and bands?
Well, Nick, this morning when I woke up, I wasn't thinking about that at all. But now, it's the only thing on my mind. You've got to tell me, please.
Well, to some degree, the first thing you normally think of when you wake up is to go for a really large poo.
Well, I'm not sure. I'd say before I think about that, the first thing I think of is who's this clammy man next to me?
So, after the release of 1998's Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, ex-Fugees singer Lauryn Hill was for a brief spell on top of the entire industry, winning multiple Grammys in 1999 and headlining arena tours.
Mm-hmm.
During 2000, Hill dropped out of the public eye. The pressures of fame began to overwhelm her. She gradually disappeared with only a couple of live albums to her name since. Very sad.
Yes, she was a prodigious talent, wasn't she?
Really, really. Singer-songwriter Jeff Buckley has an extensive discography, but only one full-length studio album was released with his approval.
That album was one of the albums that soundtracked my first year at university.
That record, Grace, assured Buckley a permanent seat amongst the pantheon of undergrad make-out music.
Yeah, absolutely. I was there. Call me.
Numerous singles, EPs and live releases came after Buckley's death in 1997, including a collection of songs he had recorded for his second album, but rejected. Frequently listed as the most influential punk album and one of the greatest and most important albums of all time, the Sex Pistols' only album, Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols, from 1977, became a UK number one and a staple record of punk rock. In January 1978, at the final gig of a difficult and media-hyped tour of the US, singer Johnny Rotten announced the band's breakup live on stage.
With the line, "Ever get the feeling you're being cheated," isn't it?
Oh, is that where that's from?
That and then the sardonic laugh.
I might use that line for halfway through the next show. Liverpool's indie pop band The Lars' one album gave the world There She Goes, which has become ubiquitous while its author sank back into obscurity. Lars' main man, Lee Mavers, was a notorious perfectionist whose one and only album was released against his wishes by a label that got sick of waiting after 3 years and 3 different producers.
Oh, blimey. Can you imagine working with someone like that, though? That would be quite frustrating, wouldn't it? You'd be like, oh, it's fine. Just put it out.
Sorry, Hannah, can you re-record all that? It doesn't matter that the single and album were hits in his native England. Mavers still hated the record and promised to re-record it while also working on a follow-up that still hasn't arrived. And finally, Hannah, all those amazing one-off albums.
Yeah.
To put that into context, did you know that top 1980s comedian Russ Abbott and 5 times funniest man on television award winner has released not 1, but 3 albums? I'll leave you to ponder on that.
I will. Now, here at Finding Land Folk Show, we have been privileged to provide DJ support at live gigs for a number of brilliant, critically acclaimed folk acts, including Eliza Carthy, Bird in the Belly, the Rhingan Sisters, and, as we shared at the top of the show, Bird Ellen. Few in the folk firmament are as bright as the Unthanks, the band and surname of sisters Rachel and Becky, who have created a stunningly diverse range of fiercely intelligent work over nearly 20 years. And I think you could say the same for me as well.
Never one to sit on her laurels, Rachel Unthank has teamed up as a seemingly unlikely duo with folk fan Paul Smith, lead singer of Newcastle alt-rockers Maximo Park. Their just-released debut album Nowhere and Everywhere is a collection of traditional folk and new songs inspired by old tales that explore their mutual homeland, the north-east of England.
And I bet there's some good folk tales around that area.
At a guess, I'm going to just, off the top of my head, say after Aberdeenshire, I would say the northeast of England might then be the richest area of folk tales.
Well, it's got rich history.
Rich history.
So, yeah, I bet there's lots of good tales. We are delighted that through show partners, Brighton-based promoters Melting Vinyl, hello, Anna.
Hello, Grant. And hello, Tom.
Hello. We have been invited to be the DJ support for Unthank Smith's Brighton leg of their current tour at the Comedia on Wednesday the 5th of April.
And Hannah?
Yes, Nick?
I would say it's the royal we.
It is it's always the royal we. Basically, if people want you, they have to accept they get me as well.
Mm-hmm.
To celebrate this, Nick caught up with Rachel and Paul to quiz them about this project.
Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
If my research is correct, my opening question feels like a bad joke, actually. A person from the world of folk and another person from the world of alt-rock meet backstage at an Africa Express concert. So what's the punchline?
Well, I mean, every good collaboration, I think, starts with a kind of common understanding. You know, you could be again on the Africa Express, you could be talking to somebody in a different language, but the sort of musical language is quickly established. And we had a kind of common understanding, got on and had made contact, but we still didn't really think about musical collaboration or anything like that until there was a concert that was coming up at the Festival of the North in Sage Gate.
I would say before that, Paul, that what actually kind of ignited we have common ground is the fact that where Paul is from, his hometown, is one of my favourite folk singing groups, the Wilsons, are from. And Paul also knew of them and liked them. So we were like, we have common ground.
But yeah, there was a thought in my mind that we could collaborate at some point, and a concert came up where they'd asked us, you know, would you like to do anything? We'll kind of commission you to rehearse with an ensemble, and, you know, you can then end up playing at this Festival of the North. And my first thought was, yeah, I'd like to sing with Rachel and see if our voices go together and whether we could do something. And also we have strange coincidences. One of my best friends is married to one of Rachel's best friends. Mm-hmm. And so getting in touch with her was a lot easier than if it was like somebody that I didn't really, Madonna or you're up there.
Thanks.
And yeah, I mean, we quickly realized that, our voices do go together. And to cut a long story short, we ended up playing this concert with 40 minutes just about of new material that we'd collated through songs that Rachel had found, more traditional songs that she'd wanted to do for ages, songs that might go together with two voices in a kind of duo. There were songs that I'd written that I thought might suit our voices, and Rachel wrote a song as well, encouraged by how things were going. Eventually, the sort of concert was the first point where we were like, right, we're going to make a record. And then we started to think, well, what should be on it? What else do we need? It's just a kind of chance meeting in a way. That's kind of how I like it when things like that happen. I like when there's a kind of, things aren't too slick and professional, I mean, that's kind of the sound of the record as well, is very raw. Other people would have, done a sort of 3 or 4 more takes to get what they wanted, but we wanted what's on the record, like something that is just us getting to know each other on a record, I suppose, is what I've said, and I kind of stick by that. Really, it's nice to hear that, because you end up hearing a lot of the times with albums that have been recorded in a recording studio, you end up with something that is very polished or has been refined, and I like that sound as well, and I've done it myself. But this record just felt natural the way that it is, and I guess that stems from this, just us bumbling along. Really, we didn't have any grand plan or anything.
You've picked 2 songs from the album.
Yeah, Horu Marai and What Max Mackham's. I've chosen What Max Mackham's from the album for you to play, and it's a weird song, but it's also kind of very accessible in the sound of it, which is, I guess, something that interests me. There's a sort of gentle, finger-picked melody, and Rachel's lovely cello playing, which we only hear once on the record. But we'll end up, I think we're going to bring the cello on our tour, put it in the tour van. So that could be an interesting time for people to see that. And yeah, the words are quite simply a poem by a guy called Tom Pickard from Newcastle, and I'd seen it in Land of Three Rivers, a Blood Axe. It's kind of poetry and lyric anthology of stuff from the Northeast. You've got all sorts of things like Mark Knopfler through to poets like Tom, and I read it and thought, there's something that maybe I could get this to work as a song. And it's got lots of weird poetic abstract imagery in it, but also there's something very rooted in the Northeast shipbuilding tradition that is clear within it as well. And it's a bit of a lighter moment on the record, I think, and it sort of counterbalances some of the darker moments. But it was a lot of fun to kind of not have to think about the words and see if you could cram them into this melody, and where do they fit, and what do I need to do next with the music to make these lyrics work. It's a nice little puzzle to have on a record.
An icy wind bites through stalks whipped up from the weir, where shags in a frozen dye break black water. A crick neck welder bent beneath the boat, with his head in a mask, burns her together. He crawls
in a double-bottom gutter. Beneath the engine room, tank top to the sun where the clatter and rattle of corkers shatter the ear. Drum running shudder of a bulkhead drop. The only way out in a panic is backwards over an extractor pipe and cables through a hatch shrunk in a swollen flap. A Macam can weld himself into a steel box and seal the lid on afterwards.
Rachel, you've picked Haru Marai.
Yeah, I picked Haru Marai, which is written by Graham Miles, who wrote hundreds of songs about Teesside and the North Yorkshire Moors, and I've always loved his songwriting. And I grew up hearing this, the Wilson family sing this song, who were from Billingham, which is where Paul is from. So it kind of felt quite nice to make that link. And I love the kind of eerie atmosphere of singing about the wind blowing over the moors, which I think Faye captures really beautifully on her clarinet.
Cold blows the wind over filing dales. Oh, Rumerai, oh, Rumerai. Cold blows the wind over filing dales. Cold blows the wind over filing dales. Cold blows the wind, how it winds, how it wails. Oh, Rumerai, oh, Rumerai. Pale shines the moon on the burial mounds. Oh, Rumerai, oh, Rumerai. Pale shines the moon on the burial mounds. Pale shines the moon on the burial mounds, where ancient bones lie in the black peaty ground. Oh, Rumerai, oh, Rumerai. Dark fly the clouds over Merkmire way. Oh, Rumerai, oh, Rumerai. Dark fly the clouds over Merkmire way. Dark fly the clouds over Merkmire way. It's hard for to tell if it's night or if it's day. Oh, Rumerai, oh, Rumerai. Grey hangs the mist down in
Wheeldale Gill. O Rumarai, O Rumarai. Grey hangs the mist down in Wheeldale Gill. Grey hangs the mist down in Wheeldale Gill. Grey hangs the mist, feel the damp and the chill. O Rumarai, O Rumarai.
What a great interview, Nick. I really enjoyed listening to that.
Absolutely, and it was also good to have Unthank Smith there as well.
Absolutely, yes. You're so arrogant.
I mean, what lovely, lovely people, and total and utter chatterboxes. So much so, Hannah, we've only included a small excerpt of this interview, and we're going to have the full interview in a later show.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more.
Good.
We end today's show with a song from the astonishing 2023 compilation of sublime and infectious contemporary recordings of the Unthank, a three-stringed gourd lute played by Jola people in Gambia and the Casamance region of Senegal. Is the People Unthank songs from Senegal and the Gambia on the Smithsonian Folkways record label was recorded in village squares, adobe houses. Is that like Photoshop, Nick?
Probably.
And improvised studios by ethnomusicologist Scott Linford for the Smithsonian Folkways label, and the 9 players form a cross-section of Senegalese society.
From a part of the world rich in ancient and contemporary folklore, subject matter ranges from love, violence, conflict, loneliness and protest, much like my average morning with you, Hannah. Ensuring this instrument is as vital now as it has ever been. Yet surprisingly, to first-time listeners, many of the songs are inspired by the rivalries and clashes between West African wrestlers, where folk wrestling is a national sport.
Folk wrestling? That sounds amazing.
Absolutely. One such song is the delightfully catchy Mamba Sambu by the group Sijam Bukan. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.